and welcome to Funny Minds. I'm your host, Lynn B.
I'm Edward Biss.
And today we have the pleasure of being with Gregory Ferraiolo. Am I saying that right, Greg?
You are. Good job.
Oh, all right.
Wow.
And Greg is the co-founder of Musicians in the Coalition. And he has his other partner, JT or TJ. TJ was not able to be with us today. So we have the pleasure of being with you.
I'm the fun one anyway, so it's okay.
Okay. So I understand what you do is you help musicians get their life started on the stage and develop bands and but it's a customized.
Learn how to make money at it.
Yeah, and learn how to make money at it because a lot of musicians don't make money at it. So, but it's a customized program that you do. So, give us a lowdown on you. This is a musician right here, tribute band musician, but he's strung with some of the best. But so you two probably be on the same wavelength. I'm just Mama Metal. I go to the shows.
Newbie. Yeah, backstage pass.
So give us insight into your whole project here. What you doing?
Yeah, so I've been working in the industry for about 15 years. Primarily, I work for Nile Rodgers, who some people are familiar, some aren't, but like he's worked with everyone from Madonna to David Bowie and written songs like I'm Coming Out, and he just won a Grammy with Beyonce. So I spent most of my career working for him. And through the time working underneath him, I, would every so often connect with different artists that would be like, how do I do this? How do I promote myself? How do I build an audience? And I'm a musician also, and I had those same struggles with my career. And over time, my partner, TJ, and I, who also work for Nile, decided, you know what, why don't we start trying to, find a solution for this? There has to be a way to educate musicians on business so that they can be successful. Because every other career out there has a path where you can follow to be successful, but musicians are really just kind of left on their own. So we started to develop this program. It started with us just doing kind of one-on-one coaching because we felt that people really need to have that kind of personal touch because everyone's problems are different, everyone is unique. And over time, while working with our artists that we were working with, it just started to turn into this program that we developed online that kind of shows step by step how to develop a music career, starting with the basics of creating a plan for your career and all the way through to how to grow an audience and develop income streams. And our vision for it really was to create something that was high quality, yet affordable to musicians, because most musicians don't have a lot of money, and something that they could trust, and where they could get personal attention. And that's what we want creating with our online program and coaching services.
Now, Greg, you talk about online program. Is that where any musician could go on, sign up, and join that website? Is it monetized? How does it work?
Yeah, so we have a few different ways that we work. So yes, first off, it's an online program. Essentially what we found out is when we were doing the one-on-one coaching, after a while, it was cost prohibitive. Most musicians can't afford even like $60 an hour to meet with somebody. So what we did was we took our basic lessons, stuff that was, didn't really need our, counseling or anything, where it was just like, here, this is how you create your plan and your social media presence. So we turned that into an online program. So yeah, so people go to our website and they can sign up, they can buy individual courses. But our primary program is just a subscription model where you can sign up and have access to everything and you just follow it in order. And it's video based, so it gives you all the examples that you need to do so you can learn. But then we also then give assignments where it's just like, okay, you've learned this, now apply it to your career so you can actually do something, because TJ and I learned by doing. And like, I think that's the most effective way.
Especially in that business.
Yeah. So like, a lot of the feedback we got early on was like, you know what, I like this stuff, but I got to wait for it to actually have relevance for my career. So when we saw people actually be faced with a release or a live show, all of a sudden it was like, how do I do this? And how do I do that? So we really just encourage people to learn and then do through that process. So yeah, they can do that through online, but again, we still have the coaching available when, but that's really more for, hey, I have this release and I need, to kind of come up with a strategy. How do I do that for so we still have that personal touch. And we just recently launched to a private online community that does the same thing, where as they're kind of going through the program, they can talk to the other artists that are going through it in our program and then still get help with us.
So you get, so it's a crossover, it's, they're part of it, but they're also interactive as well. They can also
Exactly.
and have, you know, back and forth, which is phenomenal, especially for you know, meeting people,
Yeah,
getting contacts, gaining contacts, you know, in
right.
other states, other cities.
Exactly. So
So
it's, yeah, I'm sorry.
you do interaction personally. Aside from the
Yeah.
courses, you do interaction.
Oh yeah,
So they
100%.
can,
I know all our members.
okay.
Yeah. I kind of like it that way because I don't want to. Because one of the things I had a problem with when, as a musician, there were so many different services online that said, "Hey, I can help you with your career," and like you're forced to kind of pay all this upfront money without knowing who you're working with. And even after you do it, you never really get to know who you're working with. And I didn't like that. I mean, like music's meant to be collaborative. What I like about it is the people. So we want to make sure that our members know each other, that they have access to us, and that's what the community is really for.
And
so
they can network to it to whatever extent they want to, which is fantastic.
Exactly.
And that aspect of business has come a long way. Yeah, or music, I should say. You know, from the days that, you know, when we started sitting down with your guitar teacher or whatever instrument you play, to now where a kid could literally sign up and have a one-on-one lesson with Ron Bumblefoot Thal.
Yeah, that's true.
Who's like one of the most amazing guitarists in the world. You know, it's come a long way. And then, you know, even with Greg, with YouTube, you know, when I used to teach, it was, you know, one-on-one, me, my student, and then it became, you could just go on YouTube and type in any guitarist that blew you away, and that guitarist, I promise you, was offering some type of private lessons, whether it be through Skype or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the way it's gone, and you've been right there with it, which is phenomenal. And it's always for speaking as a musician, you know, you didn't have that help back then.
No,
He
it
used
was,
to
yeah.
play in my driveway. His band would come and play in the driveway, and all the neighbors would come and sit and bring their booze and food and stuff like that. And then the kids would come, and then they'd have the rave, everybody be tossing people. And they thought this was the greatest thing in the world. And I was like, sure, do it. And the neighbors loved it. They loved it. Like years later, I'd run into somebody and they say, hey, how's your son doing? How's his band doing? Like, what's he doing? You know, like, oh, we used to have so much fun. But they all have to start somewhere, you know?
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah.
And my ears will never be the same from the electric guitar that used to be played in the house all the time.
Oh yeah, my mom feels the same way.
Yeah, you could have been a drummer. That's true.
What is your do you multi-instrument, or did you specialize in something? Did guitar?
I mean, I primarily play rhythm guitar. I play a little harmonica. Growing up, I played tuba, but for some reason, you can't start a rock band with a tuba, so I had to switch.
No, and if you do, that would be badass. But
it really would be. It's once I get this program up and going and we're really successful, that's my next major project. Make tuba a really awesome rock guitar.
Well, wait a minute. Antonio said that he has 60 instruments that he uses. He's got an all-female Led Zeppelin band.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
It's just a buddy of mine. He's in the tribute world, and
he's got to have a tuba in there somewhere. We got to ask him.
He does have a violinist though. But no, I've been in the tribute world for like the past 15 years.
Yeah,
tributing everything from Queen to Motley Crue to you name it. So
love it.
I found myself as a longtime musician struggling to get anywhere, to now playing the House of Blues and selling it out and actually making money. So you know, it was an odd experience, because if you would have told me then that I would actually do that, I would have laughed at you. Like, I'm not going to put on a wig and you know. And then when someone stroked me a check for $10,000, changed everything. Like, I'll put on whatever you want. It was a very unique experience, but you know, God bless you for what you're doing, because God knows musicians need it. They need that direction, and they need that assistance, because it's so easily, you know, from back in the day, even hearing the horror stories of some of these record contracts with some of these artists and how they got taken advantage of. And that's only one aspect of it. you know?
100%. Yeah, no.
Like the aspect of trying to get paid after a gig, or finding the right musicians, or dealing with the right people.
Well,
Yeah.
with your courses and the fact that, you know, the people that you deal with in the coalition can talk to one another, do they like cross-reference like, oh gee, we need a guitarist, you know, or we need a lead singer, and do you know somebody, or like, do they interact with one another?
Yeah,
in
they
that
do.
manner?
They do, but
Yeah,
it's not really a classified situation. It's just
it's
they're
not so
open.
much. Yeah, it's not so much a classified situation. Most of the people that find us are kind of already in a band, but that doesn't mean still that we still run other public groups that ask, how do I build my band? So we have referrals for how they can go about that. But part of the purpose behind our community is to provide them not just with knowledge, but resources. So we will get questions like, does anyone know a vocal instructor? I'm looking for someone to engineer my next album. Does anyone have someone that's reputable? So we want to kind of create a community where they can get safe resources, because again, there is that stigma where it's just like, I can't trust this person. I don't know what's going to happen here.
Right.
Really want to find and connect them with, hey, we know this is a great engineer in this area, or this producer will treat you fairly, or this vocal instructor is amazing and they're very, you know, affordable, or this video person can help you here. So we really want to build like a really safe pathway for them to develop their career that they can trust with people that want to see musicians get paid, because there is that.
Yeah.
That's kind of the rare thing. You know,
Payday.
again, yeah. When I came up, you know, I had this vision of just like everyone else, like, hey, my music's fantastic. I'm gonna find my way to the, you know, stardom. And my music mentor is like, it's a slow process. You have to take your time, get to know people. And I'm like, what do you know? I mean, that's not the way I brought up, you know. And she got me a job. She had my job working for Nile, and I'm just like, okay. I talked to Nile, I'm like, who do I get to play my album? And at this point, I haven't played a show or anything. And it was just like, you know, I got a rude awakening. You know, even though my music was good and they really liked it, I had no one to sell it to by the time I was done with my recording. And it really hurt my career. And it was at that point where I realized, like, you know what, there has to be a better way to do this. You know, even though the DIY movement is like, you can do it yourself, it's still very, because it's like
very hard. They still need direction and a lot of resources. Yeah. How did you get involved with Nile? How'd that all come about?
I was taking a music class in New York. There was a woman by the name of Ann Ruckert who had worked in the industry for years. And she had this private class on Saturdays that was like a 4-hour musicianship class every single Saturday. And, you know, she really kind of educated the people in her class on musicianship, how the industry works, all the business stuff. But she was very old school industry. Like, you got to show up for my class. You're late. I'll never work with you again. I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna do this. And so after a year of working for her, she had contacted me. She's like, you know, I got 2 potential internships for you if you're interested. I trust you. I have one for Nile Rodgers, working for his company, and I have another one as, you know, Roberta Flack's personal assistant. And I'm like, she's like, you don't know who they are, do you? I was like, no. So hang up, Google them, and call me.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
So I did that, and when I saw what Niall did, and the fact that he was very heavily involved in charity work, and it was always kind of doing these cutting edge things on, you know, in the music industry, I was like, I want to try working for Niall, because that's who I really want to learn from. And so she, you know, got me connected, and I started there, and I was, you know, wasn't young.
Were you based out of New York at that time?
Yeah, I was living with my mom in Jersey.
Jersey.
Yeah.
I'm a Jersey girl.
I'm a Jersey boy.
Where'd you grow up? North Jersey, South Jersey?
North Jersey. Yeah.
Whereabouts?
I grew up in Riverdale. I live in Kinnelon right now.
I grew up in Elmwood Park, and she had a house up in Washington.
I just sold my house in Washington. Now I'm up in Mount Austin.
Yeah, you guys are
are you in? Wait. Are you in Snob Hill? Are you living in Snob Hill? Okay.
Oh, I mean, I might be living here, but I'm not one of them.
Here's a blast from the past. You remember the band Shrickster?
Oh yeah, of course.
I used to play with PJ, the bass player.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We go way, way back. Way back. Oh, we could talk for hours on
oh yeah, 100%.
But that's that's exciting though at that point in the game to get an opportunity to work with someone like Niall.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's huge. I mean, that's a great learning opportunity, which obviously helped propel you to where you are today.
So
Yeah.
did you ever have a band?
I played in a few bands early on in my life, not really anything crazy. They didn't last very long because everyone always had like, I want to do this and I want to do that, or they weren't really disciplined. And
Right,
at some
right.
point I decided that I was going to just kind of focus solely on me. And then eventually it turned out I wanted just to kind of focus on songwriting. Yeah, so it never really went anywhere, but I still, in my heart of hearts, want to go back to it. But I found
Really?
Oh yeah, I mean that's, you know, I still have all these songs I never did anything with, and I really would
It should
like
always
to.
be on the table.
Yeah,
It should always be an option.
100%. And like even
Right.
even the artists I work with encourage me. I'm like, I'm gonna totally do it, but right now I'm trying to solve the problem of how do musicians launch their careers. It's a little overwhelming, so it
Yeah, it
requires my
takes a
full
lot of
attention.
your time. Yeah. But you
Yeah.
need a rescue from that. So maybe you could just like jam with somebody, you know, go
Yeah.
somewhere and jam with a different band. And, you know, if you ever
I
want to
agree.
do that, let me know, because there's a very good friend of ours in Jersey, and he lets people come and jam with him in his band when he
Oh.
does different things, Orange Lantern and all that other stuff, you know, places. So
I will definitely let you know. I definitely need to pick up my
if
guitar.
you,
It's got some dust
yeah,
on it.
definitely. If you want to get out there and just want to jam with somebody, let me know and I'll hook you
Oh,
up with Frank.
I appreciate that.
He lets people come. I saw him last week. He lets, you know, if someone in the audience wants to come up and sing, he lets them do it.
Yeah,
I flew up there last year and did the whole show. Just
Yeah.
flew up with my Fractal and my Jackson and just learned the songs real quick and just had a blast, man. Just step in
Oh
and
God,
crank it
yeah.
out.
Yeah,
So,
there's
but
nothing like music. It's so
seriously,
much
just,
fun.
you know, you have my email. If you ever really
I
want,
will.
feel like, you know,
Yeah.
I need a break, I want to do this, just let me know. I'll give Frank a call. He'll
Do
let
you
you
have
go.
a Fred, do you have a setup for yourself, like Pro Tools or anything?
Yeah, I actually, before I started getting into the industry, I went to audio engineering school. So I had a Pro Tools setup for a while, and eventually that converted over to Logic, just because it was, I found it more cost effective as far as like, you know, I'm an Apple guy, Mac guy, so I started using that. I have a whole recording setup. I don't have it set up right now, but like, yeah, I do like doing that. So.
That would be the best route to go for the beginning. I mean, because if you're writing your own stuff, obviously it's yours, and it'd be better for you to start laying it down little by little and get people involved that you feel could step in and help you out.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no,
Oh,
That'd be the best
yeah.
way to go. This way you have full control over it, and
yeah.
you know, you
Well,
do it as you
you're
can.
100% correct, and that's what we encourage. We always encourage our members to learn, because, you know, if their biggest challenge for the most part is either time or money, it's like the way that you kind of counteract financial issues is to learn. The more you can do, the more you understand, the more that you don't have to hire someone else to do. And being able to record at home without having to go in the studio, because we've met lots of artists like, I'm spending all this money, like, for writing.
Oh,
Like,
the cost is insane.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of them are going into the studio and writing with other people. And I'm like, you shouldn't be writing at an hourly rate. Like, you stay home, write, learn to record. It's very simple to do some just basic stuff just to get your ideas down. And then when you're ready, you can go into a studio to actually do the live
right.
Free, you got to pre-do everything you can for free.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Spend money when
like,
you have to spend money.
Yeah, but like I said, like, you know, everyone, you know, it's still funny. We're, you know, 2023, and there are people that still just have that vision of like getting out of school and I'm going to just follow the movies and American Idol idea of just like, I'm gonna write my songs and I go into the studio, record everything, and they just don't think beyond that.
Yeah, they just think they're going to come out and be a rock star, you know, or whatever.
It does not work that way.
No,
Yeah.
I've had so many people just turn to me and say, you know, I'm just going to throw stuff out there and see what happens. And I'm just like, that's not an actual legit plan. And they're like, well, you heard my music. And I'm like, respectfully, as much as the musician in me is passionate about music, it has nothing to do with your music. It's about, you know, getting heard in a space that's overcrowded with people are just putting stuff out. So you have to really think strategically when you're launching your career so you can have success.
Well, absolutely. And obviously times have changed, and people have the ability to do so much more these days on their own.
Exactly.
Promoting, distributing, doing everything that record labels would have done for you previously. Now you could do yourself.
Exactly.
But again, it's on what scale. You know?
Right.
They have the ability to get it worldwide, whereas you think you're worldwide when you're throwing stuff out on the internet, but it's really not that easy. You can really
Yeah.
target things
Like
better.
you can't be running to radio stations now and handing them a tape and saying, "Hey, could you play this for me and see if I become
Yeah.
famous overnight?" You know.
I think the main problem that we find is that they don't understand the process for building a career. I mean, again, because they have that kind of getting discovered mindset, they think I just got to create music and I got to promote it and I got to play live and that's the solution because that's what every artist does. But what we really try to, explain to them is that every artist is unique. And even though you might do some of those similar things that other artists do, your job isn't to do that. Your job is to learn what's going to make you successful. About who your audience is and then work with them to develop your career. Do they like online shows? Are they on Twitter? Are they on Instagram? Do they like certain types of merch? Like these are all things that you have to learn about and work with your audience to discover so that you can make smart business decisions, because there's no point in developing an entire TikTok presence if your audience isn't on TikTok. So, everyone thinks that they have to do something and it's just like, you might have to do that, but your job is to learn what you actually need to do. And
it's like first things first.
So you have what, 7 steps in helping them to monetize their band and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we have lots of steps.
Oh, you have lots of steps. I thought it was like
a
7-step program.
Yeah, I mean, we have 5 courses in our program, and it kind of covers planning your career out, and that's involves things like your business plan and learning how to like get organized, and setting your goals. And then we talk about later on like developing your online presence and your brand. We will touch upon things like legal and financial things because that has ended more careers than I can think of. And then we end and we kind of zero in on stuff like growing your audience and team and developing your income. But
you touch on publishing at all?
Yeah, that we touch upon all that kind of stuff in our income, which is course 5.
Okay.
Part of the income, yeah.
But most musicians will put the earning money and growing the audience up first, and it's actually the opposite. It's like you got to get set up for success before you try to actually start achieving it. So when you start to go out, play out, and you try to start earning money, you have a system in place that allows you to capture the work that you do. So that's a lot of the stuff that we just try to explain and kind of put some really just good basic practices in their head for learning how to develop a business, and then we're there to kind of guide them as once they kind of are set up. Okay, now how do I figure out my unique recipe for success, and kind of guiding them through that process. That out.
Just basically a step by step, and each step touches on
like a tutorial.
Exactly.
You need to know in regards to that step.
Right.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten, a band comes to or somebody that you're dealing with, they come to the end, they think they're ready, they're going to go out there. Have you ever gone to see them play? Have you ever gone to see any of you? Okay.
Oh, 100%. My best part of my job is listening to new music and going to their shows. So I love going out and supporting. When we actually start developing our business, like to find clients, we were going to an open mic night in New York every week, and it just had the best quality musicians in New York, and everyone was a really close, tight-knit family. And a lot of them are members. So like I'm always going to shows whenever I have the opportunity. Obviously, COVID put a little bit of a damper on that for a while, but it's starting to come back. But yeah, I love doing that.
You got to think he'd be doing this anyway.
Right. No, that's true.
Now it's a business expense.
Right.
That's right. I get to write off my drinks now when I'm going out.
Right it off. All your bar tab, everything. You just buy business expense.
Drinks around the bar.
Hey, Greg, take. I don't want to even make you jealous, but take a guess at who I'm going to see tonight.
Oh, I have no idea.
He could say a million people.
The Winery Dogs.
Oh, nice.
Portnoy is a Long Island boy.
From
Dream Theater. Billy Sheehan.
Nice. Very nice.
Are you familiar with their stuff?
I'm not familiar with them, but I am familiar with Dream Theater, obviously. But yeah,
it's a trio. It's Portnoy on drums, Billy Sheehan on bass, and Richie Kotzen on guitar singing. And they have this is like their second or third album.
That's awesome.
Unreal.
I didn't know who he was talking about, so I was totally clueless.
Greg knows.
I mean, I get educated. I mean, honestly, I'm in the space. I get educated on new music all the time. It's actually one of the things that we talk about in our community is like, who's everyone listening to? Because it's like, you know, you get into your own space sometimes and you don't think of like, hey, I want to try to find new music. So people sharing, like, I'm listening to this artist, I get exposed to people all the time. And I'm just like, how did I not know this music existed or this band existed? I feel stupid sometimes, but like, yeah, there's so much music out there and there's a lot of really good quality stuff that I don't know.
Yeah, and obviously you being a fan of known Dream Theater, you know the level that those guys are at.
Oh yeah, amazing.
But this, the Winery Dogs, is obviously a lot more rock and roll, a lot more feel. Richie Kotzen's got one of the most incredibly bluesy voices you could ever hear. Give him a listen to on YouTube when you have time.
Yeah,
Winery Dogs.
I appreciate
But,
that. Yeah.
What's your favorite type of music? I know, even though you love music, everybody says, "Oh, I love everything." But everyone has a favorite type of music.
Oh yeah, I don't love everything. About that. I mean, I'm a rock and roll guy. I kind of obviously more into indie rock more recently, but I started off listening to classic rock, you know, Beatles, Zeppelin, you know,
Floyd,
you know, all that kind of stuff. But I grew up in the 80s, so I love all that stuff. In 90s, you know, Alice in Chains, you know, and you know, and then I kind of
playing Alice in Chains right before you came on camera.
Yeah, no, it's like so I have all those bands, but I also got very into other like experimental bands like Radiohead and Muse and stuff like that. And, so love it all.
Yeah, Muse is phenomenal.
Yeah, but I'm a rock guy. Got no problem
You're
saying.
A rock guy. Okay.
I do listen to other things.
A rock guy who listens to other stuff. That's kind of like me.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't name I can name like 2 rappers, but I can name every musician and rock band ever.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I can't understand what they're saying. That's why, you know, I can't get into rap because I don't understand what I can't, you know, I don't know what the words are. I see their mouth moving, but I don't.
70-year-old white woman. There's no way you're gonna understand. I'm 55 and I don't understand.
Yeah, but some of them
But it's really
like
about
Snoop. I love Snoop. I love him, but sometimes I just can't understand what he's saying. But I like the beat. But I don't like all of it, you know. But
yeah, I'm a lyric guy. But some of my favorite bands, I mean, honestly, I can't understand what they're saying. So it's just, but it's okay.
Okay.
It makes you listen extra hard to the lyrics.
Yeah, right.
I can't do that.
Honestly, one of my favorites of all time is Elton John.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's what, for me, a lay down.
Yeah.
You know, and then Hendrix.
Yeah.
Oh, Hendrix.
Of course.
I don't have. I just had my Woodstock shirt on, but I don't have it anymore.
You know, when I worked for Nile, I met the drummer that played with Hendrix at Woodstock, and so like, yeah, so like he was the percussionist in Nile's band, and like I was talking, I've been friends with him for years, and I was like, because I've like booked Nile's tours and whatnot, and I remember just hanging out with him at a restaurant one time, and I'm like, so how did you get your start? And I'm like, he just pulls up the YouTube video. See that drummer in the background doing all? It's like,
oh my god,
oh my gosh! Like, tell me that story.
Really? That's unreal.
I would be.
Yeah, I've met some really cool people, you know, working with Nile.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah. Has he given you a lot of support with the endeavor?
You know what? Honestly,
you already moved on.
I haven't spoken to him too much about it because like how the transition basically works, like it's probably we started doing MIC in our last year working for Nile, which just timed out with his career kind of taking back off. He just won a Grammy with Daft Punk for their award-winning album, and then he started going on tour with Cher, and the label side that we were working for, he decided to shut down. You know, it was like I mean, it's something I still intend on reaching out to him for, but he's been working nonstop. But when he closed his label down, obviously I was out of a job. But it actually, but it worked out for the best because that's how I launched our label. Like we actually took over that business from Nile and launched our own label. So everything works out for a reason. But yeah, he's definitely someone that I intend to kind of, you know, speak to about this because he's all into supporting, you know, obviously musicians.
And I'm sure he can give you a lot of other contacts that you don't have too. Yeah. You know, which helps you with the people that you're dealing with, and they're taking your courses and stuff, and you can give them even more information on a lot of different people that they can contact for a lot of things in the music industry.
Well, I don't know why I haven't done it, but I always kind of. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying I would like to think that you've met a lot along the way. You know, working with
I've met a lot of
their nice little Rolodex.
Yeah, I've met so many great people, and part of my job now is still just going out and meeting great people, you know. So, you know, it is one of those things. But I think the reason why I haven't reached out to him yet is when I started my career, I was like a personal assistant to Nile, and like so early on how many people bombard him with like requests for this and requests for that. And so like I spent
Right,
really
right.
career kind of like protecting him and sheltering him from all those people asking things. So I think just and TJ, my partner, same thing. Like he replaced me when I moved over to the label. So he also kind of has that mindset. But like there's no reason in the world why we shouldn't be reaching out and talking.
Now, where did TJ start? Like, how did you get involved with TJ?
TJ, when I
Oh, you
when I
both worked for him.
both worked for Nile. Essentially, what had happened was I started working for Nile's production company, which involved like touring and helping produce like music events. And when I worked my first music event for him, I wound up kind of saving the day because the production coordinator messed up Prince's band's travel, and I had to step up to kind of run and coordinate the events for the series. And so when I did that, I got my full-time job working for Nile. So I graduated from intern to full-time. And part of that was working for his record label. So eventually I moved over there, and TJ replaced me at the production company. So he kind of was like, kind of followed me. And then at some point in time, eventually what happened, I brought him over to the label to help. And then we just became really good friends and partners.
Greg, talk about what it takes to put together a tour.
A lot of work.
Just like
yeah, I mean, you want to know from the
independent, all the moving parts.
Well, that's
it's
that's not part of what you teach the bands, right? Or you do?
We teach, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We teach a little bit of everything. Yeah, I mean, again, I started we're booking tours with Nile. Obviously, for him, it's just about like at that point in time, he was doing a lot of festivals in Europe and corporate dates. So it really kind of involves a lot of, getting all the dates lined up and then figuring out the travel, and how you're getting everyone from point A to point B and, coordinating all that stuff, which, with his size band, he had like 13 people in it. So you're bringing people in from all over the place and then coordinating them through this, ongoing, travel thing. So it was always interesting. And like, you'd be given a budget and have to figure out, okay, how am I going to get everyone from here to this under the budget that we're working under? And so that helped me immensely. So when it comes time for like our artists to do that, it starts off for us the way that we kind of, there are a lot of different types of resources. Like Indie on the Move is a great place to kind of database to learn all the different venues that are available to you. But there are also lots of places to do like house concerts as well, where they have different points where you can play shows at different people's houses. So it all kind of depends on where you're kind of going. But like it's really just about calling places up, finding places that are willing to host you. It's a little challenging if you're out of area, because a lot of places for musicians, especially independent ones, want you to supply an audience. And if you don't live in California, that could be difficult. But the solution with that is connecting with, other artists that live in that area and offering to, open up for them at their show. And then when they come to the local area, you reciprocate and do the same. So it's really about personal relationships and just kind of getting to know people. And I think, most artists kind of just overlook that. They think when I need to get contacts, they need to get industry people. And I say, don't overlook your fellow musicians. I mean, they're in the same place as you. They're trying to do what you do, and they're going to be just as invested in your success as you are in them. So if you work together to do that, you're going to have a better chance at being, successful.
I always found that the musical community, more than most, are more likely to help each other because of how hard it is to do anything in that industry. They're more sympathetic and empathetic to what's going on and have been there and done that. So you do find a lot, you hear a trash story here or there, BS, like anything else. But on a whole, the music industry and all the musicians and all the people involved are usually on the upswing as far as help and assistance.
If you think about any global tragedy, musicians are the first ones to play a benefit concert and to donate their time to do things and help people.
Exactly.
There's so many just good people there, and like I think they're all coming from a good place. Obviously, every profession has people that are not great in it, but like for the most part, I think all the musicians I've come in contact with are really just good people, and they want to see
the numbers game. You're always going to have that small fraction, but as a whole, the music industry is phenomenal as far as that's concerned. And I think the great thing about your program and what you do and what you offer is the fact that you've been there and you've done it at the highest level.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know,
That's true. You just didn't come out of the woodwork somewhere and just because you played a
you
guitar or
didn't,
something like that.
yeah,
and-
you didn't go to
Yeah.
like, I want
Yeah.
to be in the music business
Yeah.
college,
Mhm.
and you know, you
Yeah.
got a website, like you've actually
Right.
been there, done it. Each
I have
step.
I feel like I have the unique perspective of seeing it through the artist eyes and my own
Yes.
kind of tragic experience as an artist, but then also seeing it from the industry side of like, you know, this is how you can work at a high level and seeing the problems that musicians and seeing how the industry actually looks at musicians that are coming up, not really so much as trying to support them, but seeing how they can kind of almost, you know, strategically make money off of them in the best way possible. And I didn't really like what I saw so much from that angle when I worked in that side of the industry, which made me want to help musicians even more because I feel like
Right.
a
Right.
better way to develop a music career without having to sign it away to like a record label or to a manager. And there was a way to do it that was like, you know, didn't have to put you at financial risk of your future. And so it was, you know, kind of, again, this is a big passion project for me to kind of go through then and figure that out for everybody.
Well, you're doing a wonderful job, and it's very
Appreciate
interesting.
that.
When I first read, you know, when I first read everything about you, I was like, I like this guy. I wonder if he would come on the show. Let me see if he would come on the show. I think he would be very, very interesting, and I think the audience would really love him. I know my son would love talking to him. You know,
Run,
he's so silly at times.
run.
No, it's like you know, I
She's
did.
flying back to Jersey soon. Run.
No, I mean, I look at a lot, like I have like about 125 people I have to go over. And it's hard because a lot of people like,
course, yeah.
you know, it's very, our show is very eclectic, even though it says Funny Minds, it's people who are uplifting, have great stories, have something to tell, you
Yeah.
know, and I just, when I read yours, I said, this guy would be great. Oh my God, I'm going to send out the invite. I hope he says yes. I hope he says yes. And when you
I was
came
thrilled
back
that you
and
did.
said yes, I was like, oh my God, this is great, you know. But
I really appreciate the offer. It was so nice.
Listen,
I'm excited
I
about it.
wish I had every guest was you.
yeah, really, I mean,
That's just me being selfish.
no, it's you're
You
very.
and I have so much to talk about as opposed to me talking to like an energy healer.
Well,
That's
in my
not
spare
nice.
time.
Well, music is in its own way a healing experience too.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know,
without
so it is an energy healer that you're talking to.
you know what?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
And I'll be
yeah.
and I'll be honest with you too. A lot of my time beyond business is spent, you know, taking the emotional side for the musicians and helping them out there because a lot of them, you know, a lot of mental ups and downs when you're kind of pursuing a music career. So, you know, I've had many coaching sessions, therapy
Oh
sessions.
yeah.
You know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's understandable. You know, it's hard, you know, to kind of really be pursuing what you want to do and having a hard time getting there. So, you know, but again, it's really rewarding to be able to, you know, sit down with somebody that really needs help and kind of show them the way to get to where they want to go.
I think it's also important too for musicians to be aware of where they're at in regard to the talent.
Mhm.
Totally right.
And whether it's vocals, guitars, a combination of both, or whatever. Sometimes people have a vision or a thought, like, you know, that they're here when they're really not. They still need to put in that work and that time to get to that level. It's almost like acting, like you gotta, or stand-up comedy, you gotta do 1,000 shows to feel comfortable. Through those,
And get
through
to the
that, you
level.
take your lumps,
Yeah.
your ups and downs, your experience, and music's the same way. I mean, like you being in the business for a long time and even performing for a living, it took me so many shows to finally feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And also knowing where you stand as far as your talent level,
Right.
your capability, what you can actually do versus what you think you can actually do.
Yeah.
You learn a lot about yourself, but I think that's
do.
something a lot of musicians need to take time and think about seriously.
And I'm sure that's part of
Not there
your
yet.
courses when you talk to these people.
Yeah.
You're giving them a
Yeah.
lot of insight into what they really need to look at in themselves and their abilities and how far they've come and how far they have to go. You know.
Yeah, and you know, trying to explain that like this isn't you know, a 1-year process. This is, you know, a slow progression and journey. And
Right.
the person you are today, I always say the person you are today is not the person that you're going to be when you reach the level of success. And if you try to get there too fast, you'll melt down and burn out. And you can see that in so many different artists that hit stardom too soon without kind of going through the progression that allowed them to mature both musically, emotionally, to handle the success once they get there.
Right.
So it is that
you kind of didn't earn it, you know, like you didn't really pay your dues in a sense.
Yeah. Someone just saw, you know, a way to make money off you, did it, and then you melt down and they move on to the next artist, because there's always a next artist in the industry.
Oh yeah,
you know?
that's
and
true.
That's doesn't have to be like that. You can just, you'll learn how to do it. And, you know, I think the biggest problem of what most artists feel is just that they have to get it done right this second. And it's like, you know, if you're a musician, you're going to be a musician the rest of your life. So you have your entire life, a successful career, do it the right way, take your time, learn what makes you happy, learn what doesn't make you happy, and build your career with people that inspire you and that you want to be around, and build your dream career that way versus just trying to like race to stardom and, you know, maybe sign a bad deal or do something that can irrevocably hurt your career.
Well, Gregory, it's been wonderful talking to you. I really enjoyed the show. No, this was very,
Next time I'm up
very.
in Jersey, I'm getting in touch with you. We're gonna hang.
Oh, absolutely. I would love that.
Yes.
I mean, I actually
Orange Lantern, baby.
I am down. You just say the name, time, and place, and I'm there.
Okay, so thank you so much, Greg, and tell TJ that sorry we missed him, and maybe we'll meet him sometime. And good luck to you with everything that you do. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. Now, where will people find you?
You can find us, and this is a long one, at musicianindiecoalition.com. And that has our website. And then obviously we're online on, you know, all the normal places like Instagram and Facebook. But our website is the best place to reach out to us.
Musicianindiecoalition.com. I'm just re-saying it so people can hear it over and over. Musicianindiecoalition.com.
It's a long one.
It is. It's a long one. It is.
Hey, listen, I have faith in them. If they want to learn and they want to be artists, they're going to jot it down and go find
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And thank you so much for having me.
I highly recommend this to any musician, anybody in the business that wants to do anything in it, whether it's big or small. Get on this site and go through the program and check it out without a doubt.
So, Greg, we're going to say goodbye. And for all my listeners out there, thank you so much for being a part of our show and listening to us. And we're funnyminds.com. Go on the website. On the website, you're going to find that we have a store and sell a lot of silly things that say Funny Minds on it. Also, there's 2 organizations that we are very involved with, and that is Women's Breast Cancer and St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So when you're on the site, you're going to see a big purple button. Please make a donation, because these children really, St. Jude's does wonderful things for children, and breast cancer, we all know, is a very good cause, and they've come a long way. And we also have our emails are on there. If there's anything that you'd like to say to us, or you think of somebody that you'd like to see on the show, if we can get them, of course, you know.
And you want a part 2 of Mr. Ferraiolo here?
Absolutely. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. We listen to everybody. And I'm going to say goodbye to everyone now, and be healthy, be happy, be safe, and always smile and always laugh, because laughter is the best medicine.
Besides music.
And music, yes. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.